All right, so in a previous lesson, we talked about how to find sides of a right triangle using trig. If I give you an acute angle and one side of a triangle, we can find the other two sides by using trig. Well, what if I give you two sides and I ask you to find an angle? Well, we can still use trig for this, and I'm going to show you how in this video. So an inverse function is going to be used to find our missing angle. So in a right triangle, I'm going to give you two side lengths, and you're going to find an angle. And we write inverse trig functions like this. We're going to say sine to the -1 power. That doesn't mean we're doing it to the -1 power, even though I just said it. What this means is we're actually taking arc sine, or the inverse of sine, of opposite over hypotenuse, and that's going to equal my angle. Or we could use inverse cosine of the adjacent over the hypotenuse, and that will equal my angle. And lastly, inverse tangent or arctangent of opposite over adjacent will equal my angle, and theta is my angle. That is what we are going to do to find an angle. So what is that going to look like? Well, first thing we're going to do is we're going to label all of our sides, because we always label the sides. We're going to label them hypotenuse, adjacent, and opposite. Then we're going to figure out, am I going to use sine, am I going to use cosine, or will I use tangent? We're going to get the angle by itself, and then I'm going to take the arc sine, arc cosine, or arc tangent of both of our sides, and we're going to round our answer to however many decimal places that we were told to. So using Desmos on this, to get into Desmos in the calculator that we've given you in the assignments, or you can go to desmos.com or get that app, you need to come over 3 and you're going to push the function button. When you push the function button, you will see your arc sine, your arc cosine, and your arc tangent all lined up, and you're going to pick whichever one is appropriate, and you'll see in the screen where it will say arc sine, arc cosine, or arc tangent. We can also do this with our Casio calculators. To do it on Casio, you are going to push and release the shift button. The shift button activates everything in gold. So you can see right above sine, we have inverse sine. Right above cosine, we have inverse cosine. And right above tangent, we have arctangent or inverse tangent. So let's try it. Let's find the value of x right here. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to label all the sides. I'm going to go, okay, so across from the right angle, we have the hypotenuse. This side is the hypotenuse. Draw an arc through the angle. Even though I don't know what that angle is, that's still the angle we're talking about, which makes this side adjacent. And then my leftover side, the one all by itself, is opposite. So the sides we have are hypotenuse and opposite. So is this sine, because sine is opposite over hypotenuse? Is it cosine, which is adjacent over hypotenuse? Or are we going to use tangent, which is opposite over adjacent? Well, when we have these written down, we've got hypotenuse and we have opposite, which means we need to use sine. So how we write these down is we always say the sine of our angle equals opposite over hypotenuse. To break the x up, we're going to take the inverse tangent or the arctangent of both sides. So we're going to say the inverse of sine of 15 over 24. And that'll give me my angle, my degree. So that's what we're going to plug into our calculator right here, and you'll see it called up. Okay, so if you have any questions, please jot them down so you can come in and you can ask your teacher and get that great feedback. Patriots, we'll see you when we see you.